I'm with KatieWalker, American Life League, and here we are at another Values Voters Summit. And we talk about values voting, and the American Life League obviously is concerned about how people vote. How do you try to get people to vote the right way?
Well, what we try to do is educate and bring them back to the principle, especially behind human rights and the dignity of every human person's life. And that's what we're here today. It's so exciting to be here, especially this year when we have so many grassroots activists, Tea Party activists, who are really sick of compromising and really want to take the movement back to its roots. Every human being is a human person from their biological beginning of development, and it's a message, that human rights message really resonates with the people that we've been talking to behind our table. And it's exciting to be here, and I think that this year in particular, with everything that's going on in the larger culture and with politics, it's really meaningful for many people, and it's an exciting time to be here.
I agree, and I think one thing that we've seen with the Tea Party is that they have sort of infused a new lifeblood into the pro-life movement, because a lot of those Tea Party activists or Tea Party representatives are pro-life, and they're offsetting things. They're really upsetting the Republicans. Isn't that what's happening?
Well, I think it's empowered the average person on the street, and it's shown them that grassroots activism counts, and people are listening, and people are going to have to listen in November. So you're right. I think you're exactly right.
Well, and it's not to say that I'm against Republicans. I'm not. I think the Republicans are the closest thing that we have to a party that represents most of what we believe. But the problem is they've strayed from the moral issues, as if those aren't as much of a concern as the fiscal issues. And I think the Tea Party's kind of nudging them and getting them to understand things. What do you think?
Well, I don't even like to talk about the pro-life movement as an issue. The pro-life movement and abortion is a national atrocity. It's not an issue. You can't water it down to say that it's an issue, just like, tax reform. This is some people use the term disqualifying issue, but it's even more than that. This is the central issue it's the central problem of our day. And without that recognition of human rights for every human being, none of our rights are safe. None of our rights are safeguarded. So I think that we need to get away from talking about pro-life issues and really take a stance and hold our politicians' feet to the fire. And if the parties in power have given in to that pro-abortion mentality, I think to some degree it's our own fault. We need to make sure that we are holding them to that principle in whatever way we can, and usually that means at the ballot box. That means don't throw the term pro-life to politicians to anyone who is in favor of exceptions for preborn children born in rape or incest.
Yeah. Well, and you brought up a really good point. I mean, that we're talking about something that is like a core value. I mean, it's not something that you should check a box. It should be something that everybody just rises up and demands. This is over. We need to just demand that. We can't say, this is just a voting issue that we check the box. I say babies should live. Well, everybody should say babies should live. And if we look at the Dred Scott decision as an example of how changes can happen, the Dred Scott decision was never thrown out.
It was not, exactly.
How can it be that people say, well, we've got to overturn Roe v. Wade? No, we don't.
Nope. And
people
that's the
beauty.
beauty.
Need to rise up.
That's the beauty of the Personhood Amendment. Right now, we've got so many states that are out there seeking an amendment to their state constitutions that recognize all human beings from their biological beginning in that state as human persons under the law. They're defining the term persons, which was never defined in the Constitution. States have every right to enact greater protections than the federal Constitution. So it's really a beautiful thing, and it really speaks to the fire that is igniting in the grassroots across all of what we're facing in today's world. And it's really breathed new life. The Personhood movement has breathed new life into the pro-life movement, as well as this grassroots momentum that we're building and we're seeing here at the Value Voter Summit.
Absolutely. There's one other thing, and this is a quote that I want to read you. See if you know who this is. The Republican Party has lost its way because of one issue: abortion.
Really?
You ever heard that before?
Sounds vaguely familiar. Who was that?
Rush Limbaugh.
Really?
Yeah, he said it last year, and it escaped me. I read it in the Whistleblower magazine from WorldNet Daily, and there's a man who he's got his finger on the pulse of a lot of things. I always thought that he was kind of off track when it came to the abortion issue because he's not really a leader. He's not really calling for an end to abortion. He's one of those who just points at it and says, look at this problem. But he hit that nail right on the head. It's the number one issue.
It is. I think that the average Americans recognize that an unjust law is no law at all. And if you have, if the law of the land doesn't recognize the weakest of our society and the most vulnerable in our society, we can't trust them to recognize anyone's rights. To really safeguard our rights, we have to focus on the rights of the preborn.
There you go. How do people find out about ALL?
www.all.org.
ALL.org, American Life League. Get involved. The Pro-Life Memorial Day is coming up.
It is.
And here we go. You can go to the website and get your T-shirt. Don't know if you can see that. And, it's important to wear T-shirts and to show physically and visually that we're pro-life people. And, appreciate you being out there and promoting this and doing the things that you do.
I appreciate what you do as well, and it's always good to talk to you.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Peter.